Welcome to this tutorial. In this tutorial, we are going to be discussing how to use Flexbox with CSS, and we have these HTML tags here already, and this is their parents, and this is the parents of these siblings, right? And we also have this one that is sibling to this one, and we also have this one that is also a sibling to this one. Now let's use CSS to work on them. We want to use Flexbox to work on them to create layouts, because we always use Flexbox to create layout for our items. So now let's get started. The first thing we have to do is to select the parent item. So we do parent box, and we set its background color. So let's make that one something light red. Okay, anything crimson. Okay, and let's use Flexbox display flex. So by that, we are saying we want to create a layout out of it. When I say layout, it means that we want to arrange whatever is inside of it. Some may go to the left, some may go to the right, some may go to the top. That's what we mean. We want to arrange what we have inside of it, and that's why you use Flexbox. If we go to the page, we should see that we see something now. So let's work on the children so that we can see them visibly. Let's say child box. We set their background color. Let's make it white, FFF, so that it will be visible. And their width, let's make their width to be 200 pixel and 200 pixel, and let's make their height to be 200 pixel too. Let's give them margin so that we can see them clearly that they are different. Now let's go back to the page and say, "Ooh, yes, it is showing something reasonable, right?" Okay, so you can see we have three items now. This one still has children, right? This one is their parent, and this one is a child, this one is a child, this one is a child. So they have the same style, right? We can see them visibly. Let's apply some Flexbox properties on them. Let us use flex direction. Normally once you use Flexbox, the flex direction will be row. That is why we have these ones in row. But if you have to change it, maybe that is you want it to be in column, you can just declare flex direction and make it column, right? Automatically it will be column. Can you see that? So, but if you want it to be row, you can leave this one out. Do you get that? Because by default it will be row. That's it. If you want to make it explicit, when I say explicit, you want to make it easy to understand and easy to see, easy to realize. You want to make it visible, then let's make it row so that we can see it. You see? You see the same thing. Then let's now work on some other things like flex wrap. When do we use flex wrap? What do we use flex wrap to do? So let me go back to the screen to explain it. You can see we have three items here. By the time we change the browser like this, and you can see like this one is still on the same screen. Maybe we want it to flow to another side instead of reducing the size of this one, right? So we can use wrap for that. Let's change it to wrap, right? So we can also use wrap reverse. You see that when I was writing it, you can use wrap reverse, you can use wrap. So that means it to wrap it if the screen is smaller than necessary. You can see they have moved downward. That's the function of wrap. So it is wrapped. So that's it. What if you don't want to use flex direction and flex wrap separately and you want to use them together? This is how to do it. You can just use flex flow, right? And you can now set the direction. Just say direction row, and you can set you can also use row reverse. If you want to reverse it, you can use row reverse, you can use column reverse. I just want to remind you. Okay, and now we just do wrap. Yes, we now achieve what we achieved with two things. Now we achieve it with just one thing. Go back to it and see nothing would have changed. Oh, yes, nothing has changed. Can you see that? So that is it. Nothing has changed. That is how to use flex flow instead of flex direction and flex wrap. Now let's use gap. We just do gap, and gap can be row and column. We have row. This one is row. This one is set the row and row gap. Let's make it 30 pixel and make the column. Let's make it 40 pixel. So let's save it and see what happens. Boom! Yes, can you see the gap? The gap is now bigger than before. And let's remove it so that you can see that it's actually working. So let's remove it and see. Save it and go back. Boom! You can see. Okay, we have seen the gap in the row. We have not seen it in the column. So let's leave it again. Let's return it and let's go back here and let's make this one small so that you can see the gap. Can you see the gap here? So the gap is bigger. Let's go back to see that the gap is actually working. So you can see the gap again. So okay, for us to know what is actually happening, let's change the gap here. Let's change this one to something big so that we can know that is actually the column gap. You can see that it's big now. This one is row gap and this one is column gap. So that's how it works. Let's just make this one 50 and yeah, it's working. So that is the gap. For us to see it, let me make this one more. Let me just copy them and paste so that we can see. I want us to see that in action. So okay, now let's save it and go back. Pew, you can see the row, you can see the column. This one is bigger than this, and let's check why is it bigger. Let's check. So this one is 50, right? This is the column row, and this is what row, right? So let's go back. You can see the gap here, right? This one is what column, right? And this one like this is row, right? So this one is what row and this one is column. So if you go back to it so that you can understand it, let's reduce this one to 30. Before I save it, let's go back to it again. You can see this one has the biggest, right? The biggest gap, and this one is smaller. By the time we make it 30 30, this should be equal. So we are changing the one for row, so that will tell you that this is the row. 30 30. Let's save it and go back to see what happened. Boom, boom. Can you see that? They are now pretty equal. That is row, and so this is the row and this is the column. If you change the column, it will affect this side. You see this one. This one is column. Column is vertical and row is horizontal. Can you see that? So this one is the vertical gap, which is what? Which is column gap. So this is the row gap. So that's it. And we can also do it like this. Instead of doing them together, we can just do row gap. Let's go back. You can see that. So this is column gap, right? Column is what? Vertical. So the gap here. But the other time, there is no way because they did not have anything for the row. That was why the row didn't show. So if you go back here now and we put this is vertical because we have them, but if we go back and put row, it will not be there. Why is that happening? Because you can see all of them, they are on a line. The row should be here and there is no item here, so that is why that one is not showing. Do you see that? So I hope you understand that. So by the time we just change this one to a column, everything will be back to normal. So you see that. So but let me show you again so that you understand. Let's get back to row. So let's make it work. Let's just go back here and add one item so that it will flow to another line. So I want us to make it work. Can you see that? We now have it. For you to see that it is actually working. So that is it. Now let's talk about other things. So let's remove this one. I it might be disrupting. Now let's use justify content. We make it start. If you justify content start, it means along this line, it's still at the beginning. For us to see it, let's remove some children of that parent so that we can see it obviously. Okay, can you see that now? So you just have three. Justify content is horizontal alignment or positioning. Start means it will start from the beginning here, right? So we can also move it to the center. Let's change this one to the center. So and it will move to the center. You can see horizontally. Can you see that? It moves to the center horizontally. And we can also move it to the end. You just make it end or flex end, anyone. Boom. Can you see that? So it is working properly. And now that's how we use that. And it also has some other value. So let's check them. Now we can have space evenly. Okay, so let's go back. You can see space evenly means that the space on the horizontal line, along the horizontal line, will be shared for all of them equally. You can see this space is equals to here, is equals to here, is equals to here. So that is evenly. You can see equally, right? You can also make it space between. So the space will be focused between them. You can see that this one between this one equal space, between this one equal space. So it doesn't put any space here. So that is what the function of space between, right? Now let's go for space around. So space around, can you see? There is space here, there is space here, equal space by the side here, equal and the side here, and equal space between them. So that is space around. So do you get how they work? How do you make use of this thing? Let's say you want to create a header, right? You can see that maybe the header starts from here to here, right? And one is at the middle, one is at the left. When you think about it, you see the arrangement that some are by the left like this, and some are at the center, and some are at the left. You can use three and just give them different sizes, make it work. So don't let me talk about it. Let me just do it. Let's change the height of this one. Let's make them something small so that you can realize what I mean. Let's make them like 70. So, oh, I want to change the height. Let's change the height. We are changing the height, not width. So, can you see that? I will just increase the size of this, to create the layout I want for my item. Although I may not show the layout, you don't always show the layout. So I will now put the content in the header and whatever I want to do. So that is how to use that to create a layout. That's it. Let's continue before I explain some other things. Okay, we have align items. Let's start from center so that you understand, and that is vertical alignment. It will move it from top here, this is the center and this is the bottom. To make that visible, let's increase the height of the parent so that you can easily see that. Let's make height, let's make it 400 pixel so that you can easily see it. You can see it has been moved to the center vertically. If we make it instead of center, if we make it flex start or flex end, let's say flex start, then it will be at the top. You see that vertically. This is one, this is start, center, and this is the end. So that is vertical. You can see before that it was like this, right? But now vertical. Align item is vertical alignment. So flex start and let's do flex end too. Flex end, and you can see it moves to the end. That's it. It moves to the end. So that is it for now. I'll see you in another tutorial. See you then. Bye for now. Don't forget, a true Roman never surrender. See you.
Hey, have you been struggling to learn and build projects with JavaScript? Oh no, you too can code. People like you have been struggling to understand and build projects with JavaScript because we have been learning with the wrong resources that make everything so difficult to learn. And there is nobody to be there for you anytime you are stuck. That is why I have put together my long experience of working with JavaScript, and I also took a year of my life to provide solutions to the problem beginners always face in learning and building projects with JavaScript. Now you can learn with a tested and trusted program that makes use of simple examples and amazing illustrations that make everything so easy to learn. And my team and I will always guide you, mentor you, and always be there for you anytime you are stuck. So, what are you waiting for? Click the link in this post right now to start learning JavaScript the easy way. I will teach you JavaScript to be unstoppable. See you soon.